change in the fundraising sector has never been greater. But innovations in technology are evolving faster than our ability to understand them. Are these advances good or bad? Do they have unintended consequences? And what is the application to the global fundraising sector? That's what we're here to find out. Welcome to the Fundraising AI podcast, your up-to-date resource for responsible AI for the global fundraising community, hosted by Nathan Chappell and Scott Rosenkrantz.
Hello and welcome everybody to episode 79 of the Fundraising AI podcast. I'm Scott Rosenkrantz. I'm here with Paul Goldstein, head of AI growth at Blackbaud. And today we're going to be walking through one of our partners from Fundraising AI, Blackbaud, and Paul Goldstein's journey to get to where he is and what Blackbaud's doing in the space. They're doing some really exciting stuff. I know you guys have been popping up all over the place with some new things that are rolling out. And I'd love to be able to talk through kind of how you see the area, how you see the sector, compare against your previous roles and what you think is unique in nonprofits and how we're approaching AI. So before we jump in, Paul, I'd love to just have you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background and what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Scott. Thank you so much for having me. I've been at Blackbaud for about 7 months, and not super long, but I've been in tech for a really long time. I've been in tech since 15 years ago. I joined, started doing product management at a small startup, and have been doing it ever since at both small companies and large companies, most recently at Amazon, before that Glassdoor. So a mix of, a lot of for-profit consumer companies, but also have worked at some really cool mission-driven companies like Glassdoor as well, trying to bring transparency into the workplace. So for me, it's been super exciting to join the sector. I was very interested in finding a mission-driven company somewhere where I really align with their mission, somewhere I could really help people with my background in technology and building great products. And this was a perfect fit. Love the people of Blackbaud, was really inspired by them when I met them, and have been inspired by our customers since I've joined.
That's awesome. And I mean, that's a big shift going from Amazon, Glassdoor to Blackbaud and solely nonprofit focused. What was it that stuck out the most, or was like the biggest shock to you at first when joining the sector, how it compares against where you were previously?
I don't know if there was a shock. I think it was fun to see how incredibly passionate and thoughtful people in the sector was. I don't think there was a resistance to technology, for example, or resistance to change. I think people are really passionate about how do they create the outcomes for their constituents? How do they create outcomes for their organizations? And that's what everybody really centered on. And then just the deep focus on privacy and building things the right way, making sure that it's having the right impact on the world. And we're building things that actually impact organizations and people that are related to those organizations in the way that those organizations see fit. So it's been really fun. There's a huge amount of customer obsession that I've noticed, not just from our customers across the sectors, whether it's higher education, nonprofit, K-12, but also the impact their work has on their constituent bases, on, the different missions that they're trying to drive forward, but also the world. And there's a lot of balance that they create, and they're not willing to sacrifice that, which is really cool. It's really inspiring.
Yeah. The passion's a great word for it. Like, you go to any conference, and I know you've been to a lot lately over the past 7 months as in your role. It's a community like no other, right? Everyone is on board. We have different missions, different focuses, and we'll move maybe from one role to the other. But the passion to just do good, it's really permeates through everything that we do, and we're all committed to how we do this and how we treat AI appropriately, right? We know Amazon's a partner of ours, obviously, but we treat responsible, beneficial AI differently here because we have to think about the end role, the end consumer, those that are dependent on us for whatever it is, right? And so I love that passion and purpose behind it.
Absolutely. It's resounding. Every customer you talk to, Scott, I remember when I first joined, the first thing I did is my first several weeks, I talked to as many customers across all of our verticals as I could. I tried to really integrate myself and understand what are they doing? What are their problems? And everybody, you meet people and you're like, how do I help you? I wish I could do things for free. Like, how do I help you achieve your mission?
Yeah. I remember when I started in nonprofits, I almost like fell into it, right? When you go around, you talk to a lot of people and they all fell into it. And it's just so hard to leave, right? It's so hard when you see the impact that can be made and you're so close to it. I mean, we're not even directly hands-on because we're not on the mission side, but we're so close to it and seeing the impact of the people who are making the gifts and why they're committed to this. It's a great business to be in, a great community to be in, and tough to leave. But as we do this, and especially specific to your role, again, we kind of talked about how tools have to be different, right? What we're using is not what the type of AI that the for-profit is using or how they use it the same way. It's not just about getting more dollars or making more profit or selling more widgets or whatever. We need to do good with this. And I know Blackbaud fairly recently launched your Intelligence for Good strategy. Can you give us a little bit insight into what that is and how you're tackling this?
Yeah, so it's our commitment to how we build. Our commitment to how we build starts at one, responsible, two, making sure that it's convenient, and three, making sure that it's powerful. Powerful is relatively easy. We have 45-year of philanthropic data. We have been working for so long in this space and innovating in this space that we have the ability to be able to deliver on those promises. Convenient, a lot of our customers are already using our products. We can make it really easy. Should not be hard. AI should not be something you need trainings for. Like, of course, we want to make sure people know how to use the products and how to leverage them and how to do so safely and effectively. But we want to make it really easy for you. We don't want it to be something that has to come with a long learning curve. And three is responsible. Like, we've built things from the day one, thinking about privacy and security in mind, thinking about our customers in mind. What are their biggest thoughts as they build this out? How do they balance those outcomes, like you mentioned, like profit versus actual impact? And we've been really thoughtful as we build out this product, as we make decisions, as we evaluate new features, as we evaluate new product innovations. We always look back and make sure that it abides by our Intelligence for Good standard and is actually moving our customers forward the way they want to be moved forward.
That convenience part of it, that often, I feel like, doesn't get talked about as much, right? Nonprofits are notoriously overburdened, right? Under-resourced, overworked. And so having to figure out a new tool, and AI is anything and everything all at once, right? Having to figure out a new tool is probably low on their list of priorities, right? They need to put in all the gifts and send out all the emails and have all these conversations and wear the hats of like 7 or 8 different people, right? So being able to meet them where they're at, I mean, especially Blackbaud, you have nonprofits of all different shapes and sizes, maybe teams of 5 or teams of 500. Being able to meet them where they're at and just kind of like plug into what they already know, what they're familiar with, and now it's just enhanced in the background to make their life a little bit easier so they can, again, focus on what they need to be doing and what they want to be doing.
Yeah, and we've taken a deliberate approach here. We could have gone a lot faster and said, hey, we have an agent that's great. Let's just sell it to everybody. No, we've said no. We started off by having a small set of customers that we partnered with. That was before bbcon, before we announced Agents for Good. And we got consistent feedback from all of them daily as they were using the product. What was working? What was not working? What are the things that would make their life easier? And we kept it to a diverse set of customers. As we've gone through our early access program, we've done similar. We've brought on organizations that are in different sizes, different stages, different verticals. We actually have organizations across all verticals that Blackbaud represents as part of our development agent early access program. And we are making sure to keep this customer front and center. It shouldn't be, hey, go customer, go figure it out. We're on this journey with you. We want to make it as easy as possible so that our customers don't have to be like, well, I paid for this thing because people told me AI was important. Now, what do I do? No, we want you to actually see results and get help. One of the things that's been loud in my head from day one, I talked about meeting with a lot of customers and hearing anecdotes. Nobody has the resources they need. I haven't met a single organization, regardless of size, that has told me, oh, we can do everything we want to do. Every organization is like, well, I wish I could do this and I wish I could do that. And you meet some of these organizations, like I know myself, I was a premature baby. I care a lot about the March of Dimes and I've donated for a long time. I went to an animal clinic in San Francisco and I was talking to some of their customers, and I have friends that have rescued animals from that clinic. You walk through the clinic, you see what they're doing, and you're just so inspired by the work. It's incredible. You want to create products that can help them focus on the mission they're at hand, not on things that make their lives more difficult or more painful.
Yeah, having been in this space for so long, like AI is this tough thing to really wrap your hands around if you aren't as familiar with it, right? coming from the tech background, Glassdoor and Amazon, like it's front and center there all the time, right? But if it's something that you aren't paying as close attention to, it could be anything and everything, right? It's in robots and it's in your vacuums and it's in your cameras and it's in every piece of software you use. Like, and so from someone who's trying to learn and understand, and I'm being told I need to use this, but what the hell is it? And how is it going to actually like impact my work? How do you what are some of the, not necessarily use cases, but like the profound outputs that you think, hey, when you use it this way, or we've designed it this way so that you could do X? Like, what is it that you are seeing the immediate pain points or areas where people are just latching onto it? Because again, it can do all this stuff.
Well, it's an interesting question. I actually asked on a panel at BBCon, our customer conference, how many people use AI? And every single person in the audience raised their hand. Every fundraiser, every DBA asked people, how many people use Agentic AI? And almost everybody raised their hand. So at some point or another, we are using it. We're dipping our toes, but there's different levels of confidence. There's different levels of understanding. There's different levels of understanding what value comes from a product because we're all busy. Everybody is incredibly busy and we don't have the extra time in our day to say, let's go figure this out. You have to get a good understanding of like, what is it going to do for me? I remember, back a long time ago, I worked at Expedia and there was still a period of time where people were like, I don't want to use an online travel agent. I want to call my friend. And of course, we want to be able to call our friend and help us book travel. Absolutely. But we also want to get a fair price. We want to get a price that if I can find something for $9.99 and somebody else has it for $15, you want to make sure that it's honest and you're not getting a worse experience. You're getting an experience that's tailored for you. I think AI has been around forever. You talked a little bit about my background. I built personalization for a really long time at Amazon, at Glassdoor. Like personalization is AI. Machine learning is AI. AI has been predictive analytics is AI. We've all been using AI. It's just now it has different terms with the emergence of generative AI and obviously agentic AI. It's taken on new opportunities. But that's all it is new opportunities. Scott, one of the most impactful thing I do, and I try to sit in on as many of our calls with customers as I can, is when we do first customer calls and we do demos with them of our agentic AI product, our development agent. Generally, the biggest feedback we always get is like, oh, that was really easy. It's right in Razor's Edge. It's right alongside your other fundraisers. It's not meant to take anybody's job. It's meant to focus on things that you currently are not focusing on, help you set goals and deliver. And we're building the human in the loop. So at the end of the day, like we're not taking anybody's job. We're giving you more capacity. We're saying, hey, do you want to do more? Do you want to be able to achieve outcomes that maybe seem insurmountable right now?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up agentic AI because it is like, we'd heard in the for-profit space that 2025 was going to be the year of agentic AI. And again, every tool has it now, but nonprofits were still kind of getting there, right? So often asking in conferences, like who here has heard the term agentic AI? And from my understanding, from my perspective, it isn't as common, right? I mean, there's still uncertainty about predictive and generative, and then I throw agentic AI on it, it just gets a little bit more confusing. So for those who are maybe newer to that term, how would you describe it? And what can it do for you different than predictive and generative?
That's a great question. I think what agentic AI can do that's different is AI can help you solve important tasks. Like I want to write an email to my friend Scott. I can go and get it to help me phrase that email based on whatever communications we've had in the past. And that's really easy. And people love that. It's great. It can help you with questions about taxes, or that's very timely right now. What agentic AI could do is it could help you actually finish entire jobs, like not just ask for advice, but say, hey, I need to do this thing, or I have a goal. My goal is to do X. And maybe in fundraising is to say, hey, like I have a lot of people that came to an event and I don't know how to engage them. And it's a lot of work currently to do so. I don't have somebody in my organization to do that. What if I had a way to be able to engage them and get to know these people? Or like in a university, be able to reach out to my young alumni and do so in a way that actually is personalized to them and not just feeling like, okay, I'm asking for money. Every single time I'm asking for money and they're going to ignore that email. Like, what is a way for us to be able to help you achieve those goals? And it's not just one thing. Agentic AI can learn. It could understand your organization. It could understand your voice and do tasks on your behalf. But as I said before, and I'll say it again, building things with the human in the loop and the right level of controls to make sure that we are not creating situations like what you see on the internet. You Google Agentic AI and you'll see examples of things gone wrong, examples of bad things happening or inappropriate things happening. We don't want to do that. This is where that intelligence for good piece is super, super important. Being responsible and working alongside our customers to make sure that we're building something that appeals to all of our customers, not just a small segment of them.
I like to describe agentic as if everyone's familiar with generative AI, right? If generative AI is GPS, right? It'll bounce ideas off you, essentially tell you where to go. And if you take a wrong turn, it'll recalibrate and get you on the right road. But agentic would be a self-driving car, right? You just tell it where you want to go, tell it what the objective is, and it'll go and do it for you. And so we're barely scratching the surface with what agentic can do, right? I mean, there's a lot of it is running behind the scenes, again, in tools that are being provided to the nonprofit sector. But I just saw Clark University, Joe Minogue, he put on, I don't know if they might be a Blackbaud client. He's hiring 7 different agents. And so he's working with organizations to build agents for them because knowing that that's where we're going to be and just you need to start testing somewhere. So what are some use cases that you've seen of just more out of the box or nonprofit just really leaning in and saying like, I know this is something and I'm willing to just kind of try it out and see what we could do. And how did that go right and or wrong? We can always learn from where things went wrong as well.
Well, it's interesting. Our customers, and some folks have come up to me and be like, I don't know if I'm interested in AI or I'm scared of AI. I've had people come up to me and be like, I'm scared of this direction. But then you show them and you talk to them, and then they have more and more ideas. Like the amount of folks that we've had come up to me or come up to some of my coworkers and say, can you build a data cleanup agent? Something that just continues to make my data. What?
Nonprofits need that? Yeah.
Well, that's shocking. Or can you help me do this thing that is really annoying? Like, of course we can. Like, absolutely. The opportunities are really endless. It's, making sure that we are being thoughtful in how we building with the right level of control for our customers that needs to be there. Like, yes, as a tech person, I want to build things that are autonomous, that can solve your problems. You say, hey, go do this thing and it solves it for you. But also I understand that when you hire people, you need to build trust. When you bring people along, you need to make sure that this person is doing what you want them to do. An agent is the same. You want to make sure that they understand you, that they're able to execute the tasks they want, and they're going to bring insights for you. What I think is really cool is not just then when these agents take and help you get a job done. What I think is cool is when they help you get promoted, when they help you find opportunity, when they come back to you and say, hey, here's what I did and here's what didn't work, which is almost as valuable as what did work. And then also they're bringing to you what worked and said, hey, like, what if you did this? Like, imagine you're getting help with your mid-level giving campaigns and this development agent that we've built is helping you, but then it tells you, hey, here's something that's working a lot. This specific type of communication and, sharing this information about what our organization did really benefit our customer. Maybe that's something that you can then bring back and say, hey, like, we should tell everybody this is important because people care.
Yeah. And that's awesome to see like when it clicks, right? And AI adoption is not a nonprofit specific challenge, right? I mean, there's that MIT study, there's studies coming out all over that AI adoption is not easy, right? People aren't seeing the success that they anticipated. There's all this hype of what AI can do, but just buying a tool is not the same as seeing a change in your organization, right?
One of the things that I've been encouraging my team and, Wes at Blackbaud as well, and I've actually talked to a lot of our customers about this as well, and some of them are doing this, is encourage your team to explore. You hear about a cool tool, don't go put all your work information in there. Of course not. Like, be thoughtful about privacy and what this tool is going to use, but go check it out. Go see for yourself. Like, I'm not an engineer. I've written code before, but I'm not an engineer. I go play around with some of the no code tools, and we hear like the amount of tools that I hear about weekly that people are like, oh my God, this changed my view of what AI can do is incredible. Now, it's amazing. Not all of it's going to save your problems or solve your problems, but it could. It's really cool. And it also, by seeing that it's not scary, by seeing that it can improve your outcomes, help you in your job, help you with your day-to-day life. Like there's a lot of things that, I've went out on my honeymoon with my wife recently, and I can't tell you how hard it would have been to plan that without AI playing a central role. Now, did it make some mistakes? Of course. I had to do some of my own work, but it was really useful.
Yeah. You mentioned this earlier. It can do whatever you're asking it to do as long as you have a clear objective, right? You can't just like go to one of the new fancy AI tools and say, do something for me, right? You can, but you're probably not going to be too pleased because it's going to do something and you asked for anything, right? So having like testing out new things, having at least some idea of what you would like to see, and then you can evaluate, was it good, was it bad, how would I get it better, right? And that iterative process of it.
Yeah, and we're really trying to be at the forefront of that. So we announced at BBCon, and we have upcoming very soon Blackbaud certification that we're offering around AI. And I've been encouraging folks to try different courses. I've tried many different courses in AI. So has a lot of my team. There are places where they're not a fortune as well. I know that you can find some great courses on Coursera by IBM and really great organizations that have put together great materials that help you learn how to use AI tools. Use them correctly, the way to use them, learn about the way to prompt LLMs, even like, let's take a step back, just generative AI. How do you use it properly?
Yeah. And when you test out tools, if you didn't like it, like give it a month or two, right? Go back and do it again. Like they're changing all the time. I know there's a number of people that might have tried it back in the early days 2 years ago, right? And like, well, this was kind of crap. And then haven't really thought much of it since, right? So like these things are moving faster than we've ever seen. And so it's good to maintain that curiosity and just like be willing to try something new. You don't have to go into a rabbit hole, right? Because like, again, you have plenty of other things to do, but be open and run ideas by other people. So on that note, where do you see orgs that are really adopting it? Like, what is it about them that you think is allowing them to see better success, or organizations that are maybe a little bit further behind and haven't been able to lean in as much? Like, where do you see that line?
I don't think it's a lack of interest. I think most organizations I've met are really interested in leveraging AI and leveraging it well, regardless of what level of AI, like whether it's just generative AI or some tools or agentic, like they're interested in efficiencies. I think everybody is really passionate about how do we grow? How do we help our missions? Where I've seen is some organizations have taken deliberate steps to say, hey, how do I encourage people to try? Do I give them some time in their week to say, hey, like, first try something and share it over Slack or Teams or whatever the communication channel you're using with the rest of your organization. Share some stories, do some show and tells of like, here's what I tried to do and this was useful. I think about this sometimes when I worked at Expedia, we used to always share travel hack tips and be like, oh, I found this great deal. Now there's entire websites dedicated to that help you find great deals. But back then there weren't. It's similar with AI. There's a lot of great podcasts out there. There are a lot of great resources on what people are saying, both positive and negative. I know I've been encouraging my team to listen to the Lenny podcast. Lenny Rakitsky was a product leader at Airbnb, and he does a podcast with many leaders across technology. It's always interesting whether or not you're in technology directly or not. You might feel like you're not a technologist, you're a fundraiser, but you might learn a lot hearing from somebody who's building that technology to think about, okay, well, maybe it's not as scary as I thought it was. Or maybe it feels even more scary after you listen to it. That also sometimes happens, but it'll help demystify it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking back again, talking about Expedia and where you've been able to see this move in a completely different path and pace than a lot of others, right? Expedia, Glassdoor, Amazon. So where do you see it going in 5 or 10 years in the nonprofit sector? How do you see this sector changing with AI advancing the way it is?
So, I think first we need to help folks move along, and that's move along from a perspective of learning and providing them the right tools to be able to get the data they need. Because AI is not really helpful if you don't have good data or you don't have data in a place where it can be put you in for success. So this is an area like I think is really important, especially in the short term. But I think in the long term, it's agents helping you do things that currently you just can't do. and them being able to work together to help you not just solve a problem like, hey, I want to get alumni to show up to an event, or I want people that recently showed up here to donate, but really focusing around how do I build a long-term relationship with people? How do I create a lot more personalization? I think people look at brands sometimes and they forget the experience. They think about what happened as part of the experience. I used to hear this feedback a lot of people said, "Oh, well, I hate Travelocity, but I love Expedia." And I'm like, "But why?" They're like, "Oh, well, when I checked into the hotel, this person was really nice to me and they gave me some chocolates." I'm like, "But that had nothing to do with where you booked. That had something to do with the service you experienced." So we all have very emotional attachments to the experiences we have. I think in a future world, there are agents helping you in your job, whether it's, let's say you're having trouble fundraising, that's a piece of it. Whether you're having trouble, getting some time back in your calendar and allowing yourselves to better manage your relationships with folks you're working with, or even collaboration within your teams. I think in the future, these agents are all connected. They're helping you do more. They're helping your organization reach those goals. It probably was ludicrous some years back to say, hey, you can go to Google AdWords and say, hey, here's how many people I want to see my website. It used to be a lot more complicated. Now you go to Google AdWords and say, hey, here's how many people I want to see my website. They say, hey, or here's how much you should spend. And then you customize and you're done. And you usually see results and you might get some learning. But AI can do that faster. It could do it with different levels of autonomousness. It could be fully autonomous. It doesn't have to be. But I think in a future world, it's really enabling you. It's enabling all of us, our organizations, to be more successful. And it's enabling us to be more efficient. Like, imagine if you didn't have to do that one thing in your day that takes an hour that makes your day really painful.
That sounds incredible. One example you gave, helping it communicate, right? Like we always think about how AI can do these tasks for us, but some of the most impactful ways I've used it, non-task oriented, is, hey, there's a colleague that I can't connect with, right? Like I think one way, they think another way, and no matter, we can never meet in the middle. Help me reframe what I'm saying in a way that might be more receptive or responded to. And that's changed the dynamic altogether, right? Like I used to dread going into these conversations or these meetings because I knew it was never going to end up the way I wanted it to. And my intention was always like for the best, for our clients, for whatever. But like it was just the communication factor. There was this gap. And so AI can also help with those soft skills, right? It doesn't have to just be doing the tasks for you or doing the tools for you, but it can help in so many different ways. And I think that's where, again, it just like, it becomes overwhelming to some because we just don't even know where to start. So what are some of like the more interesting, whether in your personal or in your role, like just a really cool, this is an awesome use case. When I see this, when I hear about this, like it just gets me going.
I actually will keep it simple because I think some of the simplest use cases are the ones that help us the most. Like I know that I'm sure you as well, and many people that listen to the podcast, you're going from one meeting to another meeting and you're so busy. And I am the type of person, I sit there and I take notes. I would write everything down, and that doesn't help you focus in the meeting. That actually takes you away. You're not fully present. You're not fully aware, and you miss things. A lot of the technology that now exists in tools like Zoom or Microsoft Teams or, different video conferencing tools, the ability to be able to just say, hey, is everybody comfortable recording this meeting? Let's transcribe. Let's take the action items. Like, it's just incredible the amount of impact we've seen from that. I can say, for one, like I've had coworkers come on to my team over the last several months. I've never seen people onboard so quickly because they're able to come in and not just read the documents maybe you share and things you tell them to, but they go into a meeting, they're able to say, hey, I maybe didn't get all of that, but I can go and read through later. And then I can connect it to the other things I learned in this other meeting. And now I understand probably 2x or 3x as fast as I would have before. So whereas maybe 2 weeks starting off a job is almost impossible to be productive, you might be at a point in 2 weeks where you're like, oh, I kind of get it. I know what I need to be doing. And maybe you don't get it fully, but you're able to understand what you need to do to get there. So I think in some ways it's just taking the advantage of the tools that are already built in, already easy, and a lot of times already part of the package you're paying for.
It has been a luxury not having to write notes, not having like being able to focus. But there are some of those meetings where I just forget to put an AI bot in it. And then I go back after the meeting and I talk to somebody I was in it with and I was like, what did we say in there? What were the next action items? Like who's supposed to be doing what? Like, damn, like why didn't we just record this one? You get so used to these things that, a year ago, like you never even thought of. I know we're wrapping up. We probably have time for one more question, but Blackbaud's been an incredible sponsor of Fundraising AI, an incredible partner in this initiative. And I want to get your thoughts on like, why was it important to support us, to support Fundraising AI in the beginning? And what do you hope to achieve through what we're doing here?
Yeah, I think for us, it aligns really closely with Blackbaud's commitment to helping ensure AI strengthens trust, equity, and long-term impact for mission-driven organizations. We think it's a village. It's not one company, it's not two companies, it's a village to help bring folks along and help make the right impact. So we're really excited to be a part and to support Fundraising AI the way we can. And I think we're going to make incredible impact.
Yeah, we're incredibly appreciative of Blackbaud, of you, the work that you're doing there. Glad you came over to the nonprofit side to leverage all your wisdom and insight. And excited to see what Blackbaud does with the intelligence for good and where you're going with everything you're providing our sector. So any last thoughts, anything you want to share with the listeners?
One of the things that's the most fun is I constantly have customers teach me already. Like there's actually a customer, I'm not going to name names, but one of our earliest adopters of the Agentic AI products at Blackbaud. And she'll call me or text me and be like, oh, I just did this. Guess what I learned? And it's so fun once you get involved. And this is a customer who was cautiously excited about AI when we first met. And 7 or 8 months later, she's seeing incredible results and is super passionate about the impact that they could see for their organization, but also how she's using it in her day-to-day life. How does she make herself more successful, her organization more successful? It's really, really fun. Or it could be fun. We all like learning new things. I generally think everybody likes learning new things. And you like being able to tell your friends that, hey, I did this thing I didn't think I could do.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. So I just encourage people to keep trying and keep learning. Communities are great. We're trying to create communities as well for people to share what they're learning, share what they're using. I think it's a big opportunity in the sector. Don't be quiet.
Yeah, I love that. Don't be quiet. Don't stop asking questions. Lean in, be curious. Awesome.
And I've had folks ask me really hard questions. Like I've been at a couple of nonprofit conferences and people will bring the hard questions. And it's great because it forces you, one, I now understand you and your perspective a lot more, but also we all have things we're concerned about. I too have concerns about some of the things that happen in AI for example. But that's also the reason why we're going to try to build it the right way.
Yeah. People listening to this want to get in touch with you. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
So I'm available on LinkedIn, Paul Goldstein at Blackbaud. If you want to reach out to me, feel free to email me, paul.goldstein@blackbaud.com, or just reach out. I'm available. I'm generally pretty responsive. If you ask the customers that have reached out, I generally try to respond very quickly.
I'm sure we'll see you on the conference circuit.
Absolutely. I can't wait to meet in person. I'm actually thinking, how do we not meet so far?
Same. All right, Paul. Well, thanks so much for the time. Really enjoyed talking to you and looking forward to connecting again.
Likewise.